Skin in the game, I think, is at the start of all the success a startup can have. I'm René Schöb. I'm head of tax and legal in KPMG Romania, and I'm mainly responsible within KPMG, besides tax and legal, also with dealing with startups and with our Accelerator at KPMG in Romania. KPMG, as you all know, is a corporate multinational. And multinationals are not necessarily known for agility, for instance. And this is what we particularly like and also learn more in working with startups. Plus the whole growth mindset which all these young entrepreneurs have. Plus, and this I think is the most important, they really show what it means to have skin in the game. Skin in the game, I think, is at the start of all the success a startup can have. Even if a business is still small, I think core processes have to be very well structured from the very beginning in order to be able to scale. A second point which I would like to mention is, of course, our vast pool of clients, which we can, in case a startup is interested in proof of concepts, can bring also to the table and provide a certain amount of credibility to the startup versus maybe some clients who may be on the target list of this startup. Of course, if we also consider that the startup fits this kind of client-KPMG relationship. And last but not least, we have an ocean, locally as well as internationally, of subject matter experts for, I would say, almost any kind of subject which a startup may need or where improvements are needed in order to help the startup to leverage and to grow. The single answer is no. Because I think every startup is different. It addresses a different market, a different industry. And what we in KPMG try is to really tailor our support to a startup very much to the needs of the startup. Let me give you two examples. The first example would be a startup in fintech, where we supported to really have a first proof of concept with a bank, which is not easy to get. But by partnering up with us, we could really help them to have a proof of concept. Or another startup in the HR industry, where actually we, KPMG, were the first ones who onboarded their kind of methodology and technology, and then helped them also to roll it out to others, like clients of ours, or we made introductions in the market. So it is, as you can see, let's say, a very focused approach of us, but it is likely always in a kind of a cooperation where we go to the market with startups. I believe actually that the game is not about unicorns. I strongly believe that Romania can have more unicorns, obviously, why not? But I think a country like Romania should focus to also nurture startups who may become very stable and sustainable small and mid-sized enterprises. Because for an economy, this is going to help much more. So I really think that also the venture funds and the startup community should embrace also the startups which are not aiming to conquer the world. KPMG runs the Growth Path Accelerator in Romania, which is not really an accelerator which is like once per year we are taking in batches and then we have various seminars or various days where we are supporting these startups which we are taking in. We have much more an ad hoc approach, and ad hoc means we would onboard anytime a startup who needs support and where we see a fit together with us. And then we would tailor the approach and help leveraging the success of the startup. Maybe I can give also an example. We have seen that there was a startup in the news last year, which the name is Casa.ro, and we saw this could be something for KPMG, and we immediately reached out to them and also helped them, of course, now going to the market and leveraging, and it also led to a seed blink campaign ultimately, which I believe these are also ways on how we cooperate with startups. So it is not always a push or a pull, it can be also a mix. Emerging trends shaping the local ecosystem. is not purely local. Of course, these trends come from a global perspective, but in the last 18 months we have all seen that speed is extremely important. So everything turned much faster than it turned before. We see it with the last mile deliveries, which are going to really skyrocket soon. And we recognize that even if people are returning to work, returning to the city, you get used to getting your deliveries in the next half an hour or 45 minutes. So these things, I think, will stay. They're here to stay, and this changes the whole logistics where we are living in. I think this is one, and the second trend is clearly the trend of ESG. So the trend towards ecology, the trends to be more social and govern, I think is no longer a trend, it's almost a must. And if startup can embrace this kind of ecosystem from the very beginning, I think also investors are even ready to pay higher valuations.